If you are watching this channel for the first time, please we advise you click on the share button, click on the red subscribe button, and on the notification button, so that when we have a new episode coming out, directly it will be shared to you. You will have the link and be notified of this edition because they keep on coming and it will interest you, it will move you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, onto another interesting episode with your regular anchor, Dr. Daniel Otto, a consultant public health physician on the Daily Positive Living Principle channel. Today we'll be rounding up on the reasons why people blame each other. The reason why blame game has been on the escalated side, why it has become so rampant in our individuals, societies, and organizations. You might be wondering why we are still on the reason why people blame each other. Ladies and gentlemen, knowing the reason why people blame each other makes you a better person. It equips you with the capacity to manage people. It will help us to avoid some precarious conditions, avoid some calamities and negative occurrences that happens in the society. It will help us to make the society a better place. If you know why people blame themselves, you will help to save a lot of people. You will help to save even lives, because people destroy themselves because of this blame game. So it makes our society a better place. That is why we are still on this reason. And it will interest you because it will help us to live as human beings, not as cats and dogs. Knowing the diagnosis helps you to treat a patient better. That is the difference between a quack and a professional doctor. A quack treats symptoms and signs, while a professional treats the diagnosis, treats the root cause of an illness. And that is what we are doing. So this makes you a professional manager of human beings. In our last two episodes on the reason why people blame each other, I gave you numerous reasons. In the first episode, almost like 10 or 11 reasons. The second episode, almost the same reasons. Numerous barrage of reasons why people blame themselves. And we'll be rounding it up in these sessions. And I tell you, you will not remain the same again. What are the reasons why people blame each other? We're going to start looking at them one after the other. One of the reasons is when people are overburdened with responsibility. Whenever people are overburdened with responsibility, it manifests in an emotional reaction. Especially if the person is emotionally immature. When people become so overburdened, he will feel that others that are not saddled with responsibility begin to transfer the blame and feel that they are the reason why things are happening the way it is going. So when people get so overburdened with responsibility, they start feeling that, like others who are not given responsibilities, may be reason why things may be going wrong. And so they begin to transfer blame. They begin to say something like, if these people were given this responsibility, this negative occurrence, this problem or challenges wouldn't have happened. So it turns into a blame game. So this is one of the reasons that we need to talk about. What about turning regrets into emotional feeling that now manifests as blame game? Many people, they turn their regrets into emotional feeling and then they use it as a blame for others. They exonerate themselves and begin to blame others. How can you explain this? Or a 50-year-old man who impregnated a 16-year-old girl and decided to abort the pregnancy. In the process, develops complication, and this girl was now a dropout of school. Instead of looking at his own fault, this man will start blaming the parents of this girl who did not train up the girl well. Blame game. He's turning his regret into an emotional feeling and then using it, manifesting as a blame game. These are the examples of what we are talking about. What are other reasons why people blame each other? Ladies and gentlemen, displacement reaction, which is being transferred to other spouse from a kid. This displacement reaction happens majorly in a family, in a home. When a child commits an offense, instead of transferring the aggression to the child, parental instincts will hold either one of the partner from transferring the aggression to the child, but he will now displace it onto the other spouse or anybody in the house. This is what we mean by displacement reaction. In psychiatric terms, it is called a displacement reaction, or you can call it a transferred aggression. So instead of facing the child, the reaction has now been transferred in the form of irritation. The irritation from this child is now transferred onto the other spouse. Some people, when they wake up from the bad side of their bed, as they might call it, under a depressive or emotional disorder, the first person they see that day, ladies and gentlemen, they will transfer all annoyance, all anger, all irritation, or aggression on the person that they meet that first day. This is what we call displacement reaction. It's a transferred aggression. And then you begin to know why some people behave like that. This is why many people behave in this way. And we need to deal with it and tackle it. What are other ways, the reasons why people blame each other? When there is a mental health disorder, a mental illness, can make people engage in a blame game. There are many ways people behave, which is as a result of mental disorders. As a matter of fact, mental health is the situation where people can interact with each other to the well-being of each other, social well-being, emotional well-being, psychological well-being of each other. When people cannot relate with themselves or interact with themselves well, that person is suffering from mental illness. And there are a lot of mental disorders, mental cases, especially in our environment, in the family and all that. And it's manifesting as blame game. And so we need to deal with it. What are types of mental disorders? When there is excessive mood disorders, especially in depression or bipolar disease. Some people, other groups are anxiety disorders, like a kind of anxieties, tension, excessive worries. Personality disorders like paranoid, negative complexes. Some perfectionists, some low esteem. Those are personality disorders. What of psychotic disorders like schizophrenia? Others are, or even eating disorders could manifest as mental disorders. Trauma-related diseases or disorders, where what we call post-traumatic disorders. These are areas of mental illness or types of mental disorders. Then we have people that abuse drugs, some substance abuse. When we are coming to mental health, we are going to deal with this issue squarely. The issue of mental health is becoming a case in our environment. And everywhere people are manifesting mental disorders, mental illness, but we are not aware. In the home, many people manifest, spouses manifest mental disorders, and you are not aware. It manifests in negative reaction. How do I know that my partner or relationship or somebody is having a mental illness? What are the signs? When the person is feeling excessive sadness, feeling of sadness, or being down, or is fluctuating, or confused thinking, or when there is extreme mood changes. These are signs that a person may be having an underlying mental illness. Withdrawal from friends and activities are very key. Even sex drive changes, either excessive or low, can be a form of mental disorder. Suicidal thinking is key. These are signs of mental illnesses. Problem with drugs, alcohol, drugs, and others, they are signs. Significant tiredness, some are tired with low energy. These are signs of mental disorders. Major changes, eating habits, some anorexia nervosa, they find it very difficult to eat and all that. These are signs. What are we talking about? Mental illness have become a major case why people behave in a way, and we need to know them. You might be dealing with a mental case and you are not aware. And so we need to actually understand this so we can be a better person, a better husband, a better wife, or a better parents. These are the things we are talking about because they are very, very key. And we need to deal with them because they are key issues that we need to manage people. By the time we enter into the realm of health and mental health, we will begin to talk about the various aspects and it will come out clearly. What are other reasons why people engage in a blame game? Hormonal influences. This is very key because many people behave, especially men, women, they behave in a way because they are under the influence of hormones. Let me tell you, women carry womb while men carry seed. So the difference between a man and a woman is the womb that the woman carries. And for the womb to express, to function well and perfectly, that is why there are introduction of hormones that regulate the function of the womb. And that is why they say that seed terminates affliction. The monthly affliction of women is terminated by the seed that the man injects in. That is why men are seed carriers and women are womb carriers. So the introduction of the seed terminates the affliction of the womb. What are we talking about? Hormonal influences, hormonal interplay that regulates the function of the womb, especially during the time of sexual secondary characters, when the woman begins to develop from adolescence age. Things begin to happen because of hormones and then lead to menstruation, and then from there to menstrual cycle, then pregnancy. All these are mood changes, pregnancy to delivery, from there to menopause and breastfeeding. All this carries its hormonal interplay, and it makes a woman behave in a way that you may not understand because they are under the influence of hormones. And if you don't know, you might be killing a woman because of hormonal influence and you may not be aware. This is why we need to study these reasons and know so that we can be a better person. Do you know that some women, when they are pregnant, their whole behavior changes? It affects the way they behave. Can you imagine a woman when he's pregnant, all he wants to eat is to eat cricket, just like cockroach. That is all he wants. Or some people want to even eat only gari, just pure soaking of gari without sugar. Or that is all they want to eat because of hormonal influences. So many people behave. Even at menopause and all that, so many women behave because of those influences. And they are many. When they are having their menstruation, abnormal behavior, irrational behavior. And so we need to know this so that we can be a better person. We know why we are dealing with issues and we can handle them better. So these are issues we need to deal with because they are very, very key. What of the family background and upbringing is very, very key. The reason why we have a lot of people that engage in blame game in our society, in our environment, even in our government, and they carry it from what they learn at home. Recall that children are like sponges. They absorb and soak everything that they hear and they see. And that is why family upbringing is very, very key. Hear me, children are like plain papers. And in plain paper, anything you write on the plain paper, that is what will be read. So the children, none of the children are born a genius. None is born a professional. It is what you give to them that they come out with. No wonder, even the Bible says, train up a child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That means whatsoever you give them is what they come out with. So when a child is brought up under a family that engage in a blame game, that is exactly what they come out with. Very, very important. So we need to bring up these children. Some families, they leave their child for the house help who does not have anything to offer, who introduce them to pornography and all that. So now disrupting family values. This child will grow up like that has no moral value. And before you know it, that is what the child presents. And so we need to be careful, because family upbringing and background is key to manifestation of blame game, because so many people we're having today are as a result of family background. And we need to be very, very careful when we are bringing up a child. And this is what we are talking about. Many people behave the way they are because they don't even know. As I want to round up this session, I'd like to give you a story of a pastor who went to marry an illiterate, uneducated woman from the village. When pastor wanted to go and marry, he said he would not marry from the town because people, the women in the town, the ladies in the town, they are so psychedelic, their eyes have opened and they are immoral, they are immoral. So he wants to go to the village that where he can find an obedient wife. He went down to the village to pick, to select and choose a wife that is uneducated, illiterate, stark lady, and brought the lady home. Did wedding and all that, and they began to stay in the house. One day the pastor was praying in the living room while the wife was in the bedroom listening to the pastor. Hear the prayer of the pastor. He said, thank God for grace, thank God for mercy, thank God for joy, thank God for favor. I so much cherish the favor that God you have given me. I like favor, I like grace, mercy and joy. And he was praying to God earnestly from his heart. The next thing that the man heard, the wife was hearing grace, joy in the bedroom. She went to the kitchen, carried the big pot. What happened? He went and landed it on the head, crashed it on the head of the pastor in the living room. The pastor sustained injury and became unconscious. In fact, it sustained wound injury, not just injury, both wound and injury called wound injury. He was taken to the hospital. It was in the hospital he woke up from unconsciousness. Why am I here? Hey, he didn't know. And in this condition, that was when it was known. And the wife was saying, thank God that God has exposed her husband. That my husband is a pastor, but his local government headquarters is not born again. How can a pastor be keeping almost 4 girlfriends at a time? And he was telling people she doesn't feel remorseful. He was even blaming the husband for why things happen, because that he was keeping so many girlfriends. Who are the girlfriends? Grace, mercy, joy, and favor. Those are the girlfriends. How can a pastor keep 4 girlfriends and still say he's a pastor? That was the reason why he crashed the pot on his head. Many people do things because they don't know. They are ignorant of what they are doing. Not knowing that pastor was praying to God. And he thought that he was mentioning his girlfriend and became jealous. That was why he went and hit his husband with a big pot that landed the pastor in the hospital. What are we talking about? If you don't understand why some people behave in a certain way, you'll be judging them wrongly and you won't be able to manage them well. It was very clear that ignorance was the major reason why this thing happened. A lot of people, even in their actions, they justify their actions and they don't care because they think they are right in their own senses because of ignorance. And until we begin to deal with this blame game, our society will not be good. We will not be better managers. We'll be living like cats and dogs, and things will be going bad. We will chew kwakwa. We will be cracking coconut. We will be working hard. What is working hard? A lot of efforts and the rest, but results are few. If we want results and things to happen well, then we must understand the blame game and how we can deal with it. I'd like you to follow me gently, because on this channel, various things are coming that will make us a better person. I'd like you to subscribe to it. I'd like to hear your comment. Thank you for all the comments you have been making because they have encouraged us so much. I'd like you to share to your friends and contacts and order. And stay tuned for the next episode. God bless you. We must kill this blame game or God punish the blame game.